Hello everybody at GM Games, it's CoachFury here today, back with another episode of our Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 20 Let's Play series with the Utah Jazz. The challenge being that we have to bring Malone and John Stockton that elusive title that they never won in real life, and hopefully see if we can do that and go hopefully one further and win more than one title, which would be a fantastic achievement. From our last episode we covered the All-Star break, and I guess the positives of that were that Malone and John Stockton made the rookie and sophomore teams, and Adrian Dantley became a starter on the Western Conference team. Unfortunately, they got blown out completely by the Eastern Conference team, but still great to see that all three of our sort of key three players got recognition as being, elite players, which is what we want. And today we're going to sort of try and really crack through the rest of the season. So we're going to try and finish all of the season we can, whilst sort of praying that we don't get any significant injuries, because I think that is going to be the key that makes or breaks our season for us, and whether we are a playoff team or whether we fall away and end up in the gods of the lottery and the draft for next season. So without further ado, let's start. I've set up our depth chart, which as you're probably familiar with, that's pretty much our rotation, which we've been quite happy with for a while. Our strategy hasn't changed for a little while. We're still going to focus on the post and man-to-man defense and see how we get on. So let's progress through. So first game of this episode, up against the Kings, who are 3-56. Hopefully we can carry on our streak of winning our first game in the Let's Play series every single episode. Let's see how we get on. And yep, we've carried on. That's good. Good to see we can beat the Kings. We should beat the Kings. They've only won 3 games this year. So good performances there all around from our starting team. And let's move on. Let's do sim to playoffs, and let's try and get through as much of this as possible, hopefully without injuries. We'll probably sim, I reckon, till let's go to the first week of March, end of the first week of March, and then we'll stop the sim and we'll have a little look at how we've been doing. But fingers crossed, I'm really hoping we get no significant injuries, because that is the make or break for us. Okay, so the sim has stopped us, which means we probably have had an injury. Let's have a quick look and see how the results have gone. So we've been in absolute amazing form. We've beat Celtics, Suns, the Trailblazers and the Bulls. We're on a nice little winning streak, and we've hit an injury. Who's the injury to? Okay, so it's only for Wilkins, who's been out. So I think we're fair to say that we'll just put Hayes in his position. Swap you guys around. You are 85. Hayes, you can go at 85. And hang on. What am I doing here? And you're obviously not going to play any minutes. You're going to be subbed out as 100. Same with you. And we'll carry on. See if we can keep this winning streak going. Fingers crossed, guys. I think we'll go a couple of weeks actually. We'll sim the week. And we'll sim another week, and then we can put Wilkins back in, and we'll see how we've been doing. But it's nice to get that little bit of a winning streak going off in our favour to begin with. Because I think we've kind of established that our team, if we can keep everyone healthy, we are one of the better teams in the Western Conference at the moment. So we've simmed the week. Let's have a look how we've been doing. So we've carried on that streak. We've beat the Warriors, who are also up there. So that's great to see. This team's starting to click now, guys. I'm positive. I'm positive about this. So we beat the Warriors, we beat the Rockets, beat the Nets, and we beat Philadelphia. Philadelphia probably one of the teams that are going to be up there this year. We managed to have a really good performance. Dantley just going completely nuts with Malone. Malone's scoring has definitely improved over the past couple of months. He is now putting up some real significant numbers for us, which has really helped us tick on and improve as a team. So that's great to see. We'll keep the winning streak going. We're at, how many have we won now on the trot? Nine games we've got unbeaten now at the minute for this streak from this episode, so that's great to see. A comment's working wanted for Thurl Bailey. We're going to encourage him. He appreciates our comments and looks inspired to pick up his play. Good. That's what we want to see. So we're going to sim one more week because then we'll get Wilkins back and we can put him back into this lineup. It means that Hayes, our sort of bottom end of the rotation guy, can come right out of the lineup. So we can keep this streak going, guys. No injuries and keep the winning streak alive. Okay, so first things first, let's check if Hayes is actually back. Sorry, Wilkins is actually back. Okay, good. So Wilkins is back. Let's quickly change these guys around. So you're now going to be 85. Hayes, you can be up to about 90 or something. And Wilkins, in you come. Good, good, good. Right. How have we been doing? That's the question, isn't it? Oh, we've had a loss. So we carried on the streak a couple more games. Beat the Wizards, beat the Suns. We then lost to the Lakers, but beat the OKC Thunder or the Seattle Supersonics at this time. And we're in good form. I think we're probably doing pretty well in the standings now. 47 and 25. I'm happy with that. We're sort of around the 4th seed. We're performing pretty well. Let's move on. I think we'll sim another week ahead. Keep simming it a week at a time because we'll see if we get to the end of the season. If there's any crucial games that we need to do, then we might go in and actually watch some of the games. Okay, let's see how we've got on. Ooh, so we've lost another game. We lost the Warriors. I think we'll go up to the end of March and see how we get on from there. So we can go to 1st of April, sim to date. Unless we get injuries, then we'll obviously have to come back and review it. And as soon as I click that, we have got an injury, it looks like. Please don't be anyone significant. Please don't be anyone significant. Okay, it is someone significant. Malone is out for a little while. Okay, that's fine. We can deal with that because Bailey can come in. And to replace Bailey's minutes, we can put in Fred Roberts. We should store this lineup actually. Never forget to store the lineup. It's really important. Don't have to then readjust it. So in you come, and Roberts, in you go. And Roberts just in for the garbage minutes. Good. And Malone, you were on. Oh, you were on a. Oh, come on. You were in sub out at 70. Bailey, you were a sub out at 70. I want the hyperlink, guys. I want just. There we go. Right. You obviously sub out rate is 100 now. And Roberts, where are you? You want you in at about 85. Okay. So he's out for a couple of weeks. We're going to obviously sim to the 1st anyway. That's what we were planning to do. So Malone is out for probably a little bit more after that. But hopefully we can keep up performances whilst he's out. Okay, let's have a look how we've been doing. So a bit more patchy. Obviously Malone is quite significant for us. So we beat the Rockets. We then lost the Spurs, who are, I think, flying in the Western Conference now, and we beat the Mavericks. And we now got 2 games back to back against, back to back against the Mavericks again, and then the Nuggets. So let's have a look. How long have we got? How long till Malone is back for us? He's out for 6 more days. So we're probably going to sim 6 more days. And we've got some scouting updates as well to have a quick look at. So Billy Thompson looks like he's going to be a fringe guy or a role player at best. Mark Price, I think he's going to be an all-star talent, which is no surprise because in real life he was a really good point guard as well. Brad Doherty. all-star potential for him as well. Okay. So let's sim forward 6 days to the 7th so we can get Malone back in the lineup. Hopefully we'll just keep this sort of bouncing around the wins. We can sort of get a bit more consistency going. Main thing is we get everyone healthy for the playoffs. That's the main thing now, because I think we are pretty much in the playoffs at this point. So overtime loss to the Nuggets. We beat the Mavericks again. We then beat the Kings, and we then lost to the Spurs again in a close game actually. So we've got 2 games left for the season. Let's have a look how the standings are going for us. I think it's fair to say we are a playoff team now. I don't think we're going to necessarily lose that. We are in the 4th seed. We are battling against the Phoenix Suns for that 4th seed, which would obviously secure us a bit of home court advantage for the first game, which at the moment looks like it could be the Denver Nuggets, a team that we have been losing to quite a lot this season. The Lakers we touched on last episode have fallen away again, and they're just outside the the playoffs here. So it looks like we're probably going to be facing the Suns, I would imagine, in the first round at this rate. Looking over to the Eastern Conference, fair to say that the 76ers are obviously going to win the conference. Then we've got the Hawks, the Celtics, the Pistons have jumped in. The Bulls are just right down the bottom though. So yeah, okay, good. I think 2 more games left. What we'll do is we'll watch both of those games. I think we might watch the first game, and depending on how that goes, we might then start to rest some players, because I'm conscious that we don't really want anyone out injured for our playoff series really, because we're already in, so we don't necessarily need to worry about that. We can bring Malone back anyway for this next game, because we can see if we can get the win. So we've got Ricky Green out, and we've got Eaton out for 5 days as well. So I'm going to let the AI just suggest us a matrix for now. I'll restore the lineup probably once that's done. So yeah, okay. So we're going to be running a bit of a random lineup here. So with Green and Eaton out, it looks like Hanson's had to come in, and Wilkins has obviously had to come in. Hayes is playing a crazy amount of minutes at the moment, so I'm not sure why that is. I'd rather have Wilkins in there than Hayes, that's for sure. Boston's going to have to play some minutes at point guard because we haven't got anyone else. And yeah, okay, so we're a little bit down. We've got a couple of injuries. We'll see how the next game goes. Who have we even got in the next game? I think we might have the Suns actually in one of our last 2 games. Oh no, okay, so we've got the Clippers and then the OKC Thunder or the Seattle Supersonics. So let's go in and watch this game. Let's have a look at the standings. Do we need to win this game? So yeah, so the Phoenix Suns just won their last game. So we need to win this one to go back above them. So crucial, I guess, in terms of seeding. Not essential in terms of the actual playoffs, but let's watch it and see how we do. Bit of a mangled lineup for us here. A couple of injuries to Ricky Green and Eaton. So we've got Hanson in and Wilkins in. Let's see how we do up against the Clippers here. Team we probably on paper should beat when we have our starting 5 out, but a team that is also in the playoffs as a lower seed, so gives us a good analysis of how we'll do if we possibly end up facing them. It's pretty much neck and neck here to start off the first quarter here at home as well, so hopefully that home court advantage in Utah will give us a bit of a lead. Crucial that our big 3, Stockton, Dantley and Malone, pull us through in this game. And then I guess after this one, we're going to have to make a decision as to whether we go for it and try and win our last game of the season, whether we just shut down and rest as many guys as possible to try and prevent the injuries. So it looks like we've taken a nice early lead here. Got to keep up this momentum going forward, forcing them into turnovers, which is essential. Our defense has been a real driving force for us in this first season, and it's something we'll continue to build upon. But one of the things we're obviously going to have to work on is our offensive scheme, because that has not been anywhere near the top 10 in terms of offensive efficiency. So a good start from us here. We're sort of keeping the Clippers at bay, really. John Stockton having a pretty strong performance here with 16 points. Yeah, I mean, a team we probably should beat in the Clippers really on paper once we have our starting 5 back. I mean, in terms of things that I'm thinking about already for next season that I'm aware that we're probably going to need to think about is around giving some support in at sort of centre position, defensive support. Someone who can come in and provide a bit of a threat off of the bench in terms of scoring. And probably I'd like to get an upgrade at shooting guard because we're obviously playing Green in there usually. So a couple of things I'm already thinking about. At the half, player of the half, no surprises, John Stockton with 18 points, 4 assists and 2 rebounds and 2 steals. So good half from him. Karl Malone obviously only managing 16 minutes, so I think he's having to play quite a heavy chunk of it. He put up a good 10 points and Dantley being a good performance for us as well. So we've gone into the half here with a 8-point lead. We managed to sort of come out of the blocks really well early, and then the second half we had to sort of cut back a bit. So hopefully we can keep this lead at bay and just come out here with the win. That's the main thing at this point. A win and no injuries. So they're the 2 things that we want to happen here. And it looks like the Clippers are making a bit of a run back for us here. Game's becoming a bit tighter. So we've managed to stretch out a bit more of a lead then. Seem to have just taken over slightly. Keeping them at bay here. About 10 points in it. That's crucial. We've got to keep them at arm's length. If we keep them at arm's length, we can manage this game situation down. And we forced them into 22 turnovers for this game. Crazy numbers. Yeah, okay. I think we mentioned start to blow them out here now. I held them to 83 points, which is great. Looks like Stockton is having a pretty insane game. 27 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. Been carrying the load for us today on in this first game of our last couple of games of our season, really. So good to see. I think we're going to have an interesting decision coming into the next game then. So we're obviously going to come away with a win here against the LA Clippers, which is crucial for us. But we're going to have to think about, really, do we want to risk players getting injured in our last game of the season to try and win the seeding battle, or whether we want to just rest and bring people down, really, and make sure that we are healthy going into the playoffs. So a good win there against the Clippers. No surprise, John Stockton, player of the game. 29 points he ended up with. 8 assists and 5 rebounds. So good performance from him. As we walk away from that Clippers game with a nice win. So let's have a quick look at the standings, shall we? Okay, in terms of the conference battle, we are just above the Utah Jazz in terms of the playoff seeding. Sorry, we're not against Utah Jazz. We are the Utah Jazz. We're up against the Phoenix Suns in terms of the playoff battle. Let's have a quick look at them. And can we see what their schedule is? Here we go. So they are up against the Warriors last game of the season. And we know the Warriors are the top seed. So we probably would expect them to lose that game. So I'm quite comfortable that we rest guys. I think 52-29 is a fantastic performance for our first year. We're going to be a playoff team. I fancy us to win our first round battle if we have everyone healthy. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very simply start resting players. I think we completely rest the lineup. So we're going to give our bench guys a chance to show us what they're worth, really. So I think we're going to have to play a lineup of Malone, you're going to come out. Bailey's going to go in. No, actually, Roberts, you can go in. Dantley, you're going to come out for Malone. And yeah, that's going to be our starting lineup. We're going to rest Malone as much as we possibly can. Same with Wilkins. I'm not as worried about you. You can play some minutes if you need to. I'm more worried about resting Bailey, if I'm honest. You're going to play Stockton. You're not going to play any minutes whatsoever. Neither are you, Dantley. I'm not going to risk you guys. You're so essential to our team here. You need to be fully rested. Okay, so it's still forcing Stockton to play some minutes. That's probably because I need to bring you guys down a bit more so you actually are out on the court more often. That's better, but I still don't want Stockton playing any minutes. Look, pretty simple, guys. I would rather you take minutes up, and then if we have to play any garbage time, surprisingly enough, the starting lineup is going to play the garbage minutes as well. So that means that Bailey's going to have to play 8 minutes, Wilkins will play 10, Green's going to have to play 24, unfortunately. I just don't have another guard I can kind of throw in there. I mean, actually, to be fair, you can probably play some shooting guard minutes. All he has to do is come in and play a bit of point guard for us if we need him. So that's what I'm going to run with, I think, for our last game of the season. Basically tanking it so that we make sure everyone is healthy for the playoffs. We're not going to watch it because, let's be honest, we don't want to watch our bench play up against the OKC Thunder or Seattle Supersonics. See how they get on. Okay, so they actually put up a pretty good fight. Surprisingly. It wasn't as bad as I thought they would be. Okay, Eaton strangely had to play 3 minutes. I don't know why that was. They're not too bad actually, to be fair. Better than I thought they would be. But that's fine. That means we go into the playoffs now, hopefully healthy. Let's see where we ended up. Okay. So in terms of standings, the Suns didn't win either, but we didn't win either. So we still stayed above them. So it worked out okay for us. We've taken the 4th seed in the Western Conference. 52-30 record. I'm very happy with that. Over 50 wins is a good start for us in our first season here at the Jazz. So that's great to see. Let's have a look. Who we got in the playoffs? How does the playoffs shape up for us? So we are playing the Suns, obviously, as the 4th and 5th seed, but we've secured the home court advantage, which I think might be key for us in this first opening game. Interestingly, the Lakers snuck in as the 8th seed with Magic Johnson and Kareem against the Warriors. That could be an interesting one for us to follow going forward. The 3rd seeded Rockets against the Clippers. The 2nd seeded Spurs against the Trailblazers. So a couple of interesting games. I think it's fair to say in the Western Conference, the top half of the bracket is going to be more interesting. Moving over to the Eastern Conference, the 76ers against the Wizards, the Knicks and the Pacers, the Celtics and Nets, and the Hawks and the Pistons. Okay. So probably we'd expect the 76ers to get through there. That Knicks-Pacers battle is going to be interesting because that's a rookie, Patrick Ewing, over there on the Knicks team. See whether he can drive them forward in the playoffs. The Larry Bird-led Celtics and Kevin McHale, do you expect them to get through that one against the Nets? And then you've got the Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer Pistons in the 7th seed. That could be an interesting game to watch because I reckon there could be an upset there against the Hawks. So in this episode, I think we'll have a little look at the team we're playing, the Phoenix Suns, and we'll just try and work out how we want to play them. So let's have a little look at how's their rotation look. So in terms of their rotation, fingers crossed this is their rotation going forward. They've obviously got Walter Davis, which is probably one of them scoring shooting guards out. But they're led by Jay Humphries, the young point guard. They've got an interesting small forward, Mike Sanders, playing shooting guard for them in a minute. Then they've got Alvin Adams as power forward, playing small forward. So they're playing a bigger lineup. Larry Nance is probably the main threat for them in terms of the power forward position. And then James Edwards. So they're obviously very front court heavy. So we're obviously going to try and, as best we can, negate that impact. But I think with Eaton and Malone, we can do that quite comfortably. We've got an advantage, I think, here in Alvin Adams against Dantley. I think that's something we can use to exploit. So I'm quite happy with that. In terms of what's their strategy look like? So yeah, no surprise they're post focus. They are passive. They got Larry Nance going out and defending the perimeter. So that's interesting that he's power forward, but they're throwing him out on the perimeter. I'm guessing because he's got good defensive ability, probably hoping that he can go out and guard the perimeter for them. So pretty interesting matchup actually. It's going to be a matchup of the front courts, and I think Dantley is going to be the X factor for us. So we'll restore our lineup. Let's do that quickly. So we're ready and set up for our next episode, and look through it. I don't think we necessarily need to make too many significant changes to our actual team for the first episode. I think we're quite comfortable with how we look. I think we'll just adjust this around. So I think in terms of, yes, we've Stockton against Humphreys could be a bit of a wash, I think, for this series. I think a young John Stockton, Jay Humphreys is probably a better player at this point in time. Ricky Green against, I can't remember their head at small forward. I think Ricky could perhaps, should be a good match up there. Dantley's our advantage, and then Malone against Larry Nance could be an interesting battle. A young rookie, Carl Malone against an experienced guy in Larry Nance would be fun to watch. And then Eaton against, was it Edwards? Let's have a check. Eaton against Edwards. I would expect Eaton to lock him down, to be honest. He's not got the great defensive ability either, so it might be one that we have a think about. And possibly, I think when we're defending, we're probably going to put Eaton on Nance, and we might put Malone on Edwards, and try and mix it up that way. Because one of the things we are going to do in terms of strategy, whilst we're not changing the actual high level strategy, we are going to adjust this because we're going to actually do some matchups. So I'm thinking to end this episode, we quickly do this. So let's put Eaton's obviously going to mark Nance. Malone, you're going to go and mark Edwards. I'm not too worried about what the rest of the guys do. You guys just mark a post player or you match up against them. Everyone else I think will stay as is. So I'm confident. I'm confident of how we're going to look actually. I'm quite happy with that. In terms of league news, not a lot going on. In terms of the final power rankings, this is how we fit. So we end up 8th overall. Our offensive rating was 8th, I think. No, lower than 8th. Quite a lot lower. Defensive rating, we end up with the second best defensive team though. And our net rating was not was around the top, top 5. So, evidence is there that we are a good team on our own night. Just we've got to get that offense going. If we get that offense going, we can lock teams down on defense. So yeah, next episode, playoff episode against the Phoenix Suns. Can we upset them and get through the first round and hopefully get that one step closer? And who knows, in our first season to that championship.